My drug of choice was meth. I was 18 when I started using drugs, and I just started from curiosity. I used it for about a year, and then stayed clean for about a year, and then a death happened in my family where my dad died, and then it got carried away, and then it became a tool for work so that I could work longer and faster. Just to cover up the pain, I just turned to working and kind of idolizing money. What made me come to Four Rivers was I went to jail for 11 months, got out. I was out 6 months. I was putting my license back together, got a truck, and it wasn't 3 days after I put all that together that I had relapsed and started using again. And I ended up living out of my truck for 2 months. And that's the only thing I'd think about was just using, nothing more, nothing less. And then cops caught up to me, and I was sitting in jail once again 6 months later after doing 11 months. And I started writing faith-based programs that I knew about. The letters were returned, and then I had gotten out 2 days. I put this plan together while I was in jail, what I needed to do to get clean. It was like the pinnacle moment of that drugs have taken hold of my life, that I have no control of them at all. And I went to Turtle Creek for 2 weeks, completed their treatment plan, went to an Oxford house, was doing well. I ended up relapsing, got complacent. And then I was working at a Kaiser setting machinery, and the relapse ultimately ended me in the psych ward. I got out of there and I had nothing. I had on my mind I was going to do nothing but get to my tools. Something came over me. So I decided I couldn't get a ride to walk. I was going to walk to Sherman from Dallas. So I walked. It took me a day and a half. I made it to Anna, Texas, where the cops were called because I was staggering down 75. And I got to talking to the cop, and I was pretty dehydrated. My feet and knees were pretty swollen. I could barely move. The ambulance got me, and the cop told me the last thing he told me was, no matter what you do when you leave the hospital, just stop in town and see what's going on. So I got out of the hospital the next morning, walked down to the gas station off 75 and asked somebody if there was a food bank so I can just get some nourishment so I can continue my walk. And they pointed me and gave me the address to Four Rivers. And I got in there and I got to talking to LaDonna, filled out the paperwork, and she told me that there's a program here, a program that I had been looking for ever since I went back to jail. And she introduced me to Andrew, and then at that moment, I was just relieved that God had answered my prayers and sent me on this journey and this walk that was just horrendous. There's no way I would be able to make that walk without the Holy Spirit in me to just push through it. And then I got to Four Rivers, and I'm still here. Life's difference now with Four Rivers helping me is that they gave me the opportunity to build a closer contact with God, a conscious contact with God, with relieving me of all the stress of the world without paying for rent or food, so that I can focus on exactly what the problem was. And the problem for me was that I lacked God in my life. God wasn't first in my life. I mean, I knew and believed in God. I just didn't have the resources or the opportunity to really focus on Him as much as I do now. And that's Four Rivers gave me that opportunity. Looking forward in my life, I'm just looking forward to living a life without a substance, a life with God first, and building a family, and starting and rebuilding a relationship with my kids, and just living a sober life to the best of my ability. My name is Randy, and I'm just blessed and thankful that Four Rivers is here and that they have this program in effect so that people like me and people who are struggling with faith and addictions can have a place that they can turn to and rely on, and have the staff and all this in place so that we can build a conscious contact with God.
My name is Farron Winchester. My drug of choice was pretty much all the above, mostly heroin. I started using whenever I was roughly 12, 13 years old. I've been in addiction for over 15 years. When I was in middle school, other kids were using. I started off with marijuana, but I rapidly went into meth and opiates. My family was a lot of bikers and outlaws, and so I got introduced to the drug game at a very early age, and I never really stopped using throughout my life, just went different routes. It got so bad that I dropped out of school. I got arrested by the time I was 18 years old. And by the time I was 21, I had 32 possession charges, and I'm now 30 with 8 felonies because of the use of drugs. I've lost everything in my life: house, car, kids. I found Four Rivers because of my mom. My mom was in the program a long time ago, and then my stepmother works at the program, and she was in the program as well. I knew something had to change in my life. I just didn't know what it was. I figured I had just got another felony charge in Oklahoma and got it transferred to Texas. So I was in Texas with nowhere to go, nowhere to turn to, just completely down on my luck. So my mom and LaDonna Myers sent me to Four Rivers. When I got to Four Rivers, I figured, this will be a place where I can calm down, get my thoughts back in order, but I could still get high when I first showed up there. But the longer I stayed there, the more I got grounded, the better I felt, and closer to God I got, and realized that I didn't need drugs in my life. I was able to fill that void with something other than a chemical substance, and that was God. Throughout my stay there at Four Rivers, I've become a much better person. I've accumulated a car, a great job, a sufficient amount of money in the bank, savings. I've got my kid back in my life. I've got a home I can call home now. I've got great friends, family, and now I have God in my life. Now that I've graduated from the Four Rivers program, I see myself staying with this job, keeping on the track that I'm on. I've got my son in my life. I plan to raise him and break the generational curses that's been in our family for years. My goals are just to be successful without the use of drugs, keep walking in the path of Christ, and living life without the use of drugs. Love life has always been a motto for me. Even when I was down on my luck, had nowhere to go, you gotta look at the bright side of life. There's always something to be positive about. If you keep your head down, that's where you're gonna go, is down. If you keep your head held high, you ain't got nowhere else to go but up. You just gotta embrace and enjoy life. I wanna say thank you to Four Rivers, Bob Roden, Andrew Brown, all the staff up there for literally giving me my life back. I walked into Four Rivers with absolutely nothing, and I left with more than I could possibly imagine. And from the bottom of my heart, words cannot explain how thankful I am. My name is Farron Winchester, and I'm a graduate of Four Rivers.